So if you see that already, if you see the Bitcoin dominance today in the coin market cap, all right, if you see the BTC dominance today is about 38%, which is a good positive indications since yesterday it was around 36-37%, and before that it was further low. And if I see the trend of not this, but let me just close this. We were talking about BTC, and the BTC dominance is 38.2% now. And if we see the last 7 days graph, it has been continuously doing well. And let's talk about where should be put stop loss in BTC. So I was just checking BTC here, and if you see this chart, it has started increasing further below this point. And if you see it today, BTC is about 11,500. And as I was talking with my friends in my private WhatsApp group, that if it crosses this 11,600 level, and then we are not seeing the resistance here. So we are seeing the resistance at 12,800. So I would suggest that if it is successfully crosses 11,600 level, then definitely it will most likely cross reach till 12,800. So the next resistance is at 12,800. But if it is not able to sustain at 11,600, then further the next the dip which I see is at these levels, 8,400. So straight away from 11,500, it may still go down to 10,500 or 10,200. All right. Similarly, if it can again further go down to 9,400. So you can actually put in stop loss as 10,000 in order to just get rid of losses. So if it keep growing, I expect that it will go further till 12,800. So I hope, but I am putting stop loss at 10,000 probably, so that I don't lose much. All right, so I can still save my profits. So this is about BTC, and let's talk about let's search for Ethereum. All right, so and if I talk about Ethereum, let's talk about. So now this is Ethereum, and I would right now the Ethereum is running at 970, or right now the Ethereum is running at these levels 950. So still Ethereum since last 2-3 days it is doing well. It is breaking its lowers, and it is forming the higher upper low points. If I connect these points, it's keep going like this. So if I expect that if it is able to break above these levels 980, or I would say 1,000, then I would expect it to go at least till 1150. Right, but I would still say since those who have invested at the lower levels, at these levels or somewhere around these levels, can actually keep the stop losses at 900, 900 I would say, so that they don't lose much on them. All right, so this is about Ethereum. I would suggest keep stop losses stop loss at 900 for Ethereum, and then if it is successfully breaks these levels 962, 980, or I would say 1,000 levels, this particular level, then it may reach till this level 1155. All right. And this chart is about Litecoin. And if you see the trend from here, it has jumped up significantly high from 160, 170 level, 160, 170, 150, 158 to 233 level. But and it's still trying to struggle from 221 to this level to 45. And so, but I still see all positive indications for Litecoins, and I haven't heard any negative news about Litecoin also. So significantly, I would say that just keep a stop loss for this at 200 level. 200. This is what I'm probably do. So is to keep a stop loss at 200, 450, for whatever. I'm not saying to keep stop loss for the entire Litecoin you have. I would like to say you should keep stop loss for only that much portion which you bought at these levels, somewhere from this level to this level. All right. So to gain your significant losses, never take a risk of putting stop loss on all the coins. All right. So I would if it able to break these levels till 266, I still can see, and it can go up to 266 level, and then it may still jump up to 300 levels. All right. But if it is able to jump at 300 levels, then it may further go down 320 and like that. So if I see this trend, this is definitely 1 second. And if I see these levels from here to this, from these lowers, and if you see from these levels, it is. So I would still say that keep stop loss at these levels, 200 levels, this level. Keep stop loss at these levels, because here you see it is if it breaks this level, it will straight away come. It may straight away come till this level. All right. So keeping stop loss for Litecoin is also advisable, I would say. All right. Now let's talk next about the BCH, which I still expect to move higher. So I would not suggest to sell this coin at this point, because it is still holding up well and may go up. So let's search for this. So if you see, the BCH has taken a movement from these 700, 750 level and all the way up to the 1500, 1500 and these levels. So it is actually doing well, and I don't see any negative indications for BCH. So just hold on, and I don't see, I'm not putting stop loss for BCH. So it is my advice that just keep hold on. I still see a positive indications for BCH, and I still see it will still continues to grow at 1776. And I would say that as soon as it reaches 17 level or these 2000 levels, I would say just make some profit, book some profit. If it goes to these levels in next 3 to 4 days, I would suggest to book some profit, because um, gaining such a big movement on these bigger coins is not normal case, right? And people will start selling in those, or people or everybody will start making profit, booking profit at these levels. So definitely it will come down. So I would suggest that start booking profit at these levels, 1780, this level 1700 or 1750, and then 200 levels. Maybe you can start selling like 10% of your total amount which you want to sell, and then some portion at these levels. And then as soon as, and one thing which I follow is that whenever I sell and my sell order successfully get executed on GDEX, so in that case, immediately put a buy order at 10% lower value or 20% lower value. So the next day when you wake up, your buy order will get executed automatically, and by the time if it when you wake up, it already went up, and then you can still already might have made 10 to 15% profit, and if you may think of waiting for some more time and again sell it for 10 to 15 to 20%. So you as the price moves up, you always have to keep moving along with the growth of a coin, like a shadow. So if the coin price currently is 1544, so you have to always you should always put your uh, buy orders or stop losses within the range of 10 to 15% below its current value, and the sell order above 10 to 15% above its current value. And that's what I prefer, because if you see in all these movements, it is always going up, coming down by 5% to 10%, and then again going up, coming down by 5% to 10% in measure of these. And if you can make profit in these small gaps, you can make a significant gain. For example, if you make 10%, 10% in all the dips and ups, then you will be significantly making a good profit, right? Anyway, you are making, so that is one good strategy, I would say. When the market is very volatile and you are not sure what's going to happen, then just book profits at 5 to 10% levels or 10 to 15% levels. So that is my advice. So far I have covered 4 major coins, and now let's go through this. And so all of these coins, I would say these are the major coins which I am following these days. And if you go through following all these list about here, I would say uh, I heard mm, 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 mm. So I heard something good about Chainlink. So you see this Chainlink has already went up, has shown us a good growth, good uptrend in last 7 days, and it is doing pretty well. And so this Chainlink, I have actually let's talk about this Chainlink. What exactly this Chainlink is about? So basically, Chainlink is about the smart contracts. So what do you mean by smart contracts? Basically, as the name suggests, the smart contract. So it talks about the contract between buying and sell between with different institutes like, uh, for example, insurance companies and payment gateways, where lawyer comes in picture. For example, settlements of contracts. So that time the impersonal lawyer comes in picture. So, but when we move that smart contracts to the cryptocurrency exchange or the blockchain concept, then all those manual efforts of verifying the different contracts, laws, and rules and regulations. For example, if this happens, then this should, the customer has to pay this much, and if that happens, then customer has to pay this much, and if this happens, then customer has to pay penalties. So all these law enforcement conditions and policies can be enforced using blockchain concept, wherein all these manual tasks will be done by hundreds of different computers distributed over a ledger. I mean, in a blockchain fashion. Wherein, so the advantage of blockchain, as you already know, is the security. Like every computer performing the computations will be doing the same exact calculations, and at the end, if all the computers are in sync in terms of their calculations and in their verifications, then we accept that particular block as an acceptable block. So this is this is one big advantage, and which I see that and that this chain link is significantly have a great future. So as you see that the chain link, they are going to so what they're going to do is they are going to implement APIs, and they are going to interact with all these third-party vendors like Bloomberg, New York Stock Exchange through their APIs, and they are going to settle their settle their contracts via APIs and through their system, through their blockchain system. So nobody none of these third-party vendors has to spend time in manual spend time in verifying and validations through lawyer-based systems and some manual systems wherein they need to go through the computer list and approve it, deny it, and there is a possibility that that one of their system may approve the contract, and other systems may not approve the contract. So there is a conflict. Sometimes to settle these conflicting contracts, and it takes times. Wherein if we take out the entire system of smart contracts on a blockchain fashion, wherein all the computers are going to perform the same calculations, same algorithmic validations, and they are going to come up to a common solutions, which is going to settle down fast. So this advantage is that it is going to take less time in terms of settling the contracts, or so that's why we are calling them as smart contracts. So that's why if you feel that this smart contract concept seems to be a boom to you in future, and all these different companies like PayPal, different Visa companies, different banking companies, different insurance companies. So for example, in terms of insurance, what I talk is, let's say you are taking an insurance, and then if due to some flood and due to some catastrophic failures and somebody died or there has been some damages, then these kind of insurance settlements should happen pretty fast. But sometimes what happens due to these natural disasters, you need to take different inputs. You need to feed different inputs to the system, and if it has to be done manually, then it sometimes takes time. Whereas in the blockchain, what you will feed in the earthquake point, geographical locations, and the measurement, and the and its magnitude, and then the system is all the blockchain system is going to based on these input feeds, it is going to go through a certain process for the loan approval, and the end customer is going to get his settlement amount faster as compared to the manual system. All right, I hope you understood, and maybe I was able to explain this to you in a simple way. All right. Now let's talk about the next coin which I was reading today is Verge. And since last couple of days, or maybe since last 1 or 2 days, the Verge has seen a significant improvements or significant high in its value. And I would explain the reason behind it and what I have read on different sites, what is positive news, what is why I feel that, or why other people on the internet feel that the Verge is going to have a good potential. During the downturn market, like in the month of January, when all the coins were going down, most of the people lost hope in Verge. And that happens because they promised something and they couldn't launch the system, and then they were quiet for some time, and then now since it started, now again people have started having faith in Verge, and I would tell you why. Because if you see, because now if you see Verge, because recently on 17th of February they have on their Twitter blog they have mentioned hashtag VergeFan. We are now being accepted on the Mega Store. Congratulations to everyone who made this happen. So let's talk about what is Mega Store. So I will show you basically what they are trying to say about Mega Store, what basically is Mega Store, and what they are actually trying to say. All right. So let me show you the Mega Store. So just now we saw that they have on Twitter they have posted that they have been accepted by Megastore, and this is what the Megastore is. All right, we saw here that they have mentioned that they have been accepted by Megastore, and here we are on Megastore. And here if you see, Megastore is basically a e-commerce company wherein they are kind of an online store. You can buy and sell everything like Amazon. So clothing and a lot of stuff, a lot of different gadgets, stationery, lifestyle, women, men's, and a lot of different stuffs you can buy here. But the main point is what are the different currencies they accept. So recently, if you see here, if I expand this box, you see that they accept Bitcoin Cash, Singapore dollar, Australian dollar, US dollar, euro. Similarly, you see here the Verge. So that could be the reason. That's why people started believing in it, and that could be one reason. That's why it is boomed up in last 1 or 2 days. Let me show you the current status of Verge, what it is, XVG, and then if you see here, and it went up significantly high in last couple of days. See this? From these levels, it went till these levels till yesterday. So it went up to these levels. So the reason which I see is this. And also, if you know what is basically the Verge is basically a secure and anonymous cryptocurrency. That means, for example, recently all the different countries, including South Korea, started saying that we are going to ban cryptocurrency and we are going to ban Bitcoin. So in all those situations, I would say that the Verge is the best currency, because anyway, since it is a secure and the anonymous currency, that means the government is not going to trace it. So that could be one of the reason that people might be. So that could be one reason that because it is anonymous, still in those bad days, it won't hurt that much. And other reason which I see here is that recently on Twitter, that on the crypto RKT, somebody tweeted that XVG was ranked 9 in a code review, only 3 positions below BTC, and they still claim that in future they may still go up. And this this company by the one who have done the code review is one of the Chinese tech company or the tech firm which does for the code review, and so it's a big news. All right. So I still see that it has a good potential. Now let's move on to the next thing, and I have actually seen few coins which are below 150 million, and I still have good potential. And I see that I will just explain you what are these basically coins are about. So if I tell you about this coin, let's say BlueGel, and actually this is a decentralized database. And if I show you here, and if I So if you see this, if you go to this website, and here they are. Basically, BlueGel is basically a truly scalable data storage. So actually, it is a decentralized database system wherein they will store data on individual computer nodes. So for example, wherein they will store data on individual computer space. Combines sharing economy with token economy, renting individual computer storage space to earn token, while app developers use tokens to have their app data stored and managed. What does that mean is that that they will store um, that they can actually rent out the uh, computer space from individual people who are actually mining it or are working through with BlueGel to rent out their computer space to store the data. So it is something like you might have heard about Hadoop systems, wherein they store data in a distributed database systems, wherein they will, for example, if there are multiple distributed systems, and they will store the same particular version in a distributed manner from multiple computers, and in the same way, they will access the data from multiple systems using their HDFS file systems. So similarly, in the similar line of HDFS, in the blockchain concept, they are trying to store data and retrieve data from the distributed computer systems using the blockchain concept. And by using the blockchain concept, what they what the advantage they will gain is the security and the reliability of data, and data cannot be corrupted on the multiple. So which is everybody, all of you know that the advantage of blockchain. So we can use all the advantages from the blockchain field, plus the plus storing data on distributed computers. And for example, when there is a small database like 100 MB, 200 MB, so storing and retrieving data from database is quite easy. But when database become bigger and bigger, for example, like 10 GB of database or in the terabytes of database if we have, then retrieving the entire like querying the data entire database, and then combining them and querying from the 10 different systems. And then, for example, earlier we used to store data on distributed systems, but for example, if you want to query the database for a particular table, then querying, getting all the database, merging it together, and then doing the indexing, and then searching and retrieving the database, and again spreading it across the distributed system was a huge task, and it was a time-consuming task. But with blockchain concept, somehow they are trying to store data on 10 different systems, and during the querying system itself, they will not need to combine during the query system. So this is one advantage, wherein they are trying to store data, use database in a distributed system using the BlueGel in their BlueGel concept. All right. So I will share more details once I read more about this BlueGel. But I see that similar, like Hadoop booms it a lot at one particular point. This, if it goes in the similar directions, it will definitely have a good potential. Similarly, similarly, ETHLand, this particular coin has a good potential. ETHLand is basically currently at 135 million, and it is basic. Now what they are trying to do is they are actually doing P2P lending. What do you mean? What I mean by lending is you can borrow money from somebody. So like for example, right now you borrow a loan from a bank. You go to a Bank of America, and borrow a loan, right? But some banks charge you a lot of money, right? They charge you more interest to pay. Similarly, if you go to a DCU, Digital Credit Union, DCU banks, they are comparatively lesser priced because their operating cost is less. They are being owned by, they do not need to maintain the infrastructure in terms of bankings. They do not need to maintain so many employees in one particular locations, so they save in terms of infrastructure cost. So that's how their rate of interest is less. Similarly, in ETHLend, what they are trying to achieve is they are trying to achieve a platform wherein a friend can borrow money from friend. So that's a kind of lending from person to person. So and then individual person can decide decide the rate, what and the conditions. So I would suggest that this is also going to be a good, promising coin if it get implemented. And so I would suggest to keep following these coins and their news. And if they are on the track, we can think about investing in these coins. Wabi. Wabi. It's basically they are trying to go into a supply chain management concept. For example, a supply chain domain, wherein uh, what uh, what I mean by supply chain is like in Walmart, Meijer, you go and buy different stuffs from, and then you pay money, pay in dollars. All right. In what Wabi is trying to do, and along with in they are trying to achieve in the supply chain domain, but what they are additionally doing is their system will have an RFID security band. That means each and every item or the packets will have a security band, which if somebody tries to open that packet, that security band or the security that particular some whatever kind of RFID security band, if that is I mean somehow corrupted, which tells that his system is being open or corrupted, or somehow somebody tries to open the packet. So it actually talks about more securing your system while transiting in a supply chain system. So still that is good. And then similarly, Gifto is somehow I have been tracking from long, and it's basically a virtual gifting platform wherein you can actually gift something, gift you can actually um, send a gift to your kids, friends virtually. What actually they are trying to they in that case one person actually has to buy a gift, and then they can send a gift virtually to the other person. So and then probably they are going to deliver that same gift from nearby store or somewhere, but you already actually buy it from here, so you actually has a backup of a physical asset behind it. All right. I will share more detail about it, but it's about virtual gifting. What Lunar is trying currently, Lunar is at the 44 million market cap, and they are about decentralized Wikipedia. Right now, they are trying to get stabilized into the market, but as soon as their hits, they start getting into the market, their concept is similar to Wikipedia, but they will and they are trying to implement the Wikipedia in a decentralized way using the blockchain concept, wherein from different regions people can tag a different content into the Wikipedia, and which can be managed by individual people. So the loads on the Wikipedia servers, decentralized Wikipedia servers will be less. So different peoples from different zone, like for example, currently in Wikipedia, a lot of people anybody can post a content, and then once the content is verified, it can be made published. Okay, it can be published over the Wikipedia. Similarly, in a decentralized in a cryptocurrency market, if we make it in a blockchain fashion, so there will be multiple computers and different people verifying the same verifying the content, and the verification of the contents can be done by multiple computers at the same time. And then approval of Wikipedia content will take less time. All right, that's what I think, I believe. And once I will read more about it, I'll share more details about all these coins in more details in my future videos. Now the next coin is EIDOO, EIDO. It's basically a wallet, and then they are also trying to combine wallet and hybrid exchanges. What I mean by hybrid exchanges is currently, for example, if you store your if you are trading using storing some money in the wallet, for example, you go to uh, Binance or Bittrex, and then you transfer BTC uh, from your GDEX account to Binance or Bittrex. But if once you transfer your money to the Binance or Bittrex and you trade in it, and if somehow somebody hacks into the system in the Bittrex or Binance wants to um, have, want to take away your BTC or the coins from Binance, then they will be able to do it. Right now, in hybrid exchange, what they are trying to do is the customer will have the keys and the private keys for the coins in the wallet. So even though they will have something in their system, but actually to get the actual key, actual coin key, you will be able to, like, they will be able to get to know about your coin uh, information only when they get to know the private key. But the customer actually hold the private key, so they can be secured. So even though the exchange itself will not be able to know about anything about your coins. So this is one very good advantage, which once the cryptocurrency market is becoming going to be popular and everybody starts adopting it, then the security issues will come to pictures, and in that case, hybrid exchanges will be profitable. All right, so that is all about today's video, and sorry for taking so long. My from my next videos, I'm trying to reduce this video time uh, from 15 to 20 minutes. So all of my videos are going to be from 15 to 20 minutes, and I will try to wrap up within that time frame. And sorry, because I'm very new to these the cryptocurrency videos. So, but as soon as I uh, get up, get to know how to reduce the times and cover my content in short span of time, it's going to be very beneficial, because I know that I have a lot of knowledge about cryptocurrency